one of the Prophet's companions comes and asks him, O Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, make me a leader over one of your provinces. Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, Ya Aba Dharr, innaka da'if. You are too weak to do that. Your personality doesn't suit this kind of work. In fact, you are so not good at leadership. Never judge between two people and don't even take charge of an orphan's money. You just do the things you're good at, please. Because if you enter the area of leadership and judgment and responsibility and custodianship, you're going to mess up. You're not built for this. Stay in your lane, do what you're great at doing. And so the Prophet ﷺ created a complementary society where each person found their calling and then went all in on the thing they were great at. And they used it for the service of Allah. If you just do what others did before you and you do everything that people are doing around you, you will forever be a sheep, a zombie, live life on autopilot if you don't question, why am I doing this thing that I'm doing? A lot of us listening to this are in jobs that are not meant for them. Find themselves in environments which they just followed other people into. Go to a hookah bar, go to a shisha bar and do a poll of the 10 people there. Why did you come here, bro? The bro said, innit? Raw, the Akis told me to come here, innit? I remember once in Pakistan and they pulled up one poor guy and they interviewed him and said, why are you burning tires? He goes, I don't know, man, everyone's burning tires. I thought, you know what, why not? People, they do not question why they are doing things. They just follow others blindly. Anybody know the story, childhood story of a man who took a large number of people and drowned them in the sea? They just followed him. The Pied Piper of Hamelin. It's a famous story they used to tell. Now children don't listen to stories. They watch like Peppa Pig, wal-iyadhu billah, on YouTube. But there was a time when we used to read stories as kids, like fables and this kind of stuff. And they tell this famous story of a man called the Pied Piper of Hamelin who would play this particular flute. I'm not saying music is permissible. And a bunch of children followed him and he walked until he collected all the children in the town and he walked straight into the sea and they all drowned. It is not a story about music or flute. It is a story of how people follow the crowd to their own destruction. Go to university and ask someone, why are you studying medicine, bro? My dad told me, innit? Why are you here? Why are you doing this? Why are you in this job? Why are you... Everything that you do, if there is no why to it, then know that you are walking yourself into a moment where you will eventually regret why you are here. Everything we do must be with purpose. And so every one of us must ask ourselves, what is my specific purpose on this earth? Yes, everybody's here for worship and life is a test and Allah created us to have mercy. But me, specifically, what is my purpose? Do you think that everyone has a specific purpose? Of course. It is disgusting to imagine Allah would create something or someone without purpose. Let me ask you the question. What was the purpose Allah created Bilal ibn Rabah for? What was the specific function that Bilal played in society? What was the role, the job description that he had every day, day in, day out? He called to prayer. Did he just call with his voice? That's the only way he called to prayer? No, Bilal radiallahu anhu lived Salah like nobody else. Which is why the Prophet ﷺ says to him one day, a very shocking hadith, Ya Bilal, O Bilal, tell me what secret deed you do. He hears the footsteps of this man in Jannah. What do you think he did? He says, O Prophet of Allah ﷺ, nothing special about me, but every time I do wudu, I pray 2 units of prayer. He was a man who embodied Salah, called to Salah with his voice and with his actions. That was his role. He was the Salah ambassador in society. Some of you here have specific skills. Skills that you find yourself, they call it the flow state. The way you know the thing Allah created you for. You find it comes very natural for you. Many people wonder, what am I supposed to do? Especially A-levels, college, university time. Who am I? What am I meant to do on this earth? Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah has a book called Tuhfatul Mawdud bi Ahkam al-Mawlud. It's about parenting and the rulings around children. And in that, he has a section around how to help your children find their purpose. And he says, try out different things with your children. Get them to do reading, writing, memorization, horse riding, archery, swimming, and just observe them. If you see that they very naturally take to horse riding and physical activity, etc., let them do that. And if you see them instead naturally curious, intelligent, asking questions, memorizing, reading, wanting to learn, wanting to study, wanting to know what's deeper, prepare them for ilm and knowledge. So Ibn al-Qayyim, rahimahullah, he would not do what most South Asians do, which is when their child is born, they say, this one will be a doctor, engineer, lawyer, accountant. No, he said, watch them, observe them, see what naturally comes to them, and then push them towards that, invest in that, because that's the thing they will do amazingly. Now, did the Prophet ﷺ do this, or did he force people to do things against their nature? No, what the Prophets did ﷺ, he would help people find their specific purpose. He would let them try different things, and he would see there's one thing this person is amazing at. Bilal was the ambassador for Salah. Khalid ibn al-Walid, military strategist. Hassan ibn Thabit, he was a poet. Was he a poet before Islam? Yes. He was one of the greatest of poets. What happened after Islam? He found his role as the PR wing for the Prophet ﷺ. You know, today, or back in the day, or in the recent times, there was such a thing as rap battles. They would use poetry recited very quickly in order to attack one another. Same way, the Quraysh would use poetry in order to attack the Prophet ﷺ. And Hassan ibn Thabit would prepare the response, the press release. That was his role. He used his skill that he already was great at, he was already phenomenal at, but now he's using it for what? For the establishment of the Deen, for the building of this world, for the service and the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Many of us think that the only way to serve Allah is all of us have to become scholars. But not all of us are made that way. Not all of us find that natural. Not all of us find that easy. We were all made for different things. Allah placed within us different talents, different skills. And the greatest moment in your life is when you realize this is what Allah created me for, and now I'm going to go all in and I'm going to serve Allah through this. What was Aisha radiallahu anha extremely talented at? Knowledge. Aisha radiallahu anha was one of the greatest scholars from the Prophet's companions. She had extremely photographic memory and audio memory. She would memorize, you say something, one sentence, she's memorized it. That's not normal. If you have that skill, please become a scholar. Yes, there are people like that. They have abnormal memories. They have phenomenal intelligence. They should use that for the purposes of serving Allah through knowledge and scholarship. But there were other female companions of the Prophet ﷺ. Anybody can tell me what were the roles and purpose played by other companions, female companions of the Prophet ﷺ? Khadija radiallahu anha, who would participate in business, in trade and commerce. Hafsa radiallahu anha was one of the people who collected the Quran. Every companion of the Prophet had a role. Now, sometimes some of his companions would try and stretch. They would try and do something they're not made to do. One of the Prophet's companions comes and asks him, O Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, make me a leader over one of your provinces. Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu. O Prophet of Allah, he says, make me a leader over this province. The Prophet ﷺ says, Ya Abu Dharr, innaka da'if, you are too weak to do that. Your personality doesn't suit this kind of work. In fact, you are so not good at leadership, never judge between two people and don't even take charge of an orphan's money. You just do the things you're good at, please. Because if you enter the area of leadership and judgment and responsibility and custodianship, you're going to mess up. You're not built for this. Stay in your lane, do what you're great at doing. And so the Prophet ﷺ created a complementary society where each person found their calling and then went all in on the thing they were great at. And they used it for the service of Allah. And so we find ourselves that if you want to find your purpose in this life and your specific mission and calling, here is a step-by-step process. Number one, you have to be self-aware. You have to try different things. Test yourself and find what are the unique qualities and skills that you find in yourself that nobody else has around you. Number two, test yourself until you find something called flow state, which is when you find time passes that you don't even realize it's passing. You're enjoying yourself so much, you don't even realize time is passing. What you are doing in this state is what Allah created you to do. By the evidence of the Prophet ﷺ when he said, قُلْ اعْمَلُوا فَكُلٌّ مُيَسَّرٌ لِمَا خُلِقَ لَهُ. Do, try different things. You will find easy the things Allah created you to do. You'll just find it natural to you. Step 3. Once you find the thing that you are most inclined towards, comes most natural to you, comes most easy to you, now you have to hone and develop this skill. Invest in it with time and with money, with experience, with mentors, with apprentices, until you get to the level of mastering the skill. And never accept anything less than mastery. The Prophet ﷺ said, Allah prescribed mastery and perfection in everything. He gives you an example. If you're going to be a butcher and you're going to slaughter animals, sharpen your knife and do a proper job. Rest the animal in peace by the mastery of your slaughter. Everybody should have a craft and be a master of your craft. Don't try to do what somebody else is good at. You do you. And if you're trying to do something you're terrible at and you're not made for, you're going to cause more harm than good. Just like Abu Dharr, when he wants to be a leader, the Prophet ﷺ said, no, you're not made for leadership. You do that thing instead, please. The Prophet ﷺ, he developed his Sahaba to be masters at what they did. Never ever allowed them to do something halfway. If you're going to be a scholar, be the best scholar there is. If you're going to be a horse rider, be the best rider. He would push them, he would challenge them until they reach a level of mastery and a level of ihsan, and he would never accept anything less than ihsan. So there is a journey to mastery, a journey to ihsan. Step 5, use the skill you have developed for the sake of Allah. You have to look for a gap where you can slot in the ummah.